Welcome to another episode of Mediazewtv. I hope everyone is doing okay out there and in great spirits and in good health. And after watching that fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo last night, I just had a few thoughts. And before we start, can you go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button? Well, let's get right into it. I've always been a big boxing fan, and I really grew up during the late 70s, and I remember that era of Muhammad Ali's career. And my dad, he was a huge boxing fan also. He was a big Sugar Ray Leonard fan. And I used to be, Marvin Hagler was my favorite fighter. And I was kind of crushed when he lost to Sugar Ray Leonard. I probably watched that fight 30 times since then, and I keep seeing a draw every time. But that's neither here nor there, But a lot of great fighters have come and gone since then, and we've seen legends rise and fade. But after watching what Terence Crawford did last night, putting on an absolute masterclass against Canelo Alvarez, you got to put Terence Crawford up there with some of the greats of all time, in my opinion, with that victory. That performance. It just solidified his place in history. So please, for the love of God, quit talking about the man hasn't fought anybody. Please stop it. Stop it. Just quit it. The man cleaned out the 140-pound division. Then he went and cleaned out the 147-pound division before becoming undisputed last night as a super middleweight against Canelo. So really, who else has done what he's done seriously recently? So I started paying real attention to Terence Crawford back when he beat Yorkis Gamboa. Now, for the young fans who might not remember, at that time, Gamboa was wrecking everybody. He was real explosive and powerful, an undefeated Cuban sensation. And Crawford, he was down on the scorecards, and he got knocked down, I think, once, and then he just figured him out. He switched to southpaw and systematically just broke Gamboa down and stopped him. So right then, I knew this guy was really special. There was a different kind of IQ in the ring. So then he turns around and goes up to 147 and just beats every single top fighter they put in front of him from the PBC stable. And he made it look easy. He didn't just beat them, he pretty much dominated all of them. He crushed the prime, undefeated Errol Spence to unify all the belts. So it really wasn't a fight. It was a surgical dissection, in my opinion. So let's get to Canelo. And I need you to hear me out on this. In my opinion, Canelo is a great fighter and a future Hall of Famer. But I've always looked at him the same way I look at Mike Tyson back in the day. Mike Tyson was great, had devastating power, incredible intimidation factor. But his opponents, especially during that dominant run, they were pretty much cherry-picked by Don King. And you combine that with unbelievable marketing, the power that HBO had at the time, and they just built him into this mythical, unstoppable monster. And Canelo is no different. He's a product of Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions and some incredibly slick marketing. They built a phenomenal brand. But just like Mike Tyson, almost every time he has faced a truly elite, all-time great level boxer with a style that doesn't suit him, he just doesn't have an answer. And that brings me to a classic boxing truth, that styles make fights. Canelo has always been a bit slow-footed. He's a powerhouse that really relies on crushing power and counterpunching. But every single time he's faced a pure boxer who can move, who has elite footwork and timing, he loses. He lost to Mayweather. He lost to Bivol. And now he lost to Terence Crawford. But Terence Crawford is clearly the more skilled of the two, and his main challenge in the fight was the size and the weight difference. And he really handled that perfectly. Canelo is fantastic, but he has always struggled with slick boxers. So unless he knocked Bud out cold or there was a complete robbery with scorecards, the chances of him actually outboxing Terence Crawford were always going to be slim to none. And in hindsight, I can see exactly why Terence Crawford took this kind of risk, moving up so many weight classes, because on paper, Canelo was tailor-made to be had by a technician like Bud. Crawford is a switch-hitting, punch-picking, distance-controlling master. And last night, he just made it look easy. He wasn't just better, he was a complete level above Canelo's skill set. It was like a professor schooling a student. But you know what? Instead of tearing either guy down, let's just appreciate these two for making this fight happen. Two great fighters who have fought everyone worth fighting in their eras. And let's also start paying more attention to fighters from small places and give them the spotlight more than we do. Crawford is a quiet guy from Omaha, Nebraska, and because he wasn't from a big boxing market and didn't run his mouth 24/7, he never really got the credit he deserved for years. Until now. And now he has it. And it's really well deserved. And look, I won't sit here and compare Mayweather to Crawford like everybody's doing. That's a different debate for a different day. Floyd Mayweather was the best of his generation, defensive wizard. And Terence Crawford is certainly the best of his generation. But check the stats on Crawford because they're absolutely insane. He's a 5-division world champion. And after last night, he's only the second man in history ever to unify all the belts in 3 different weight classes. The only other man to do that is the great Henry Armstrong, all the way back in 1938. So let that sink in for a minute. The history that we witnessed last night, let's just appreciate it. Terence Crawford isn't just a great fighter for right now. He's etched his name into the permanent stone of boxing history. But you all just let me know what you thought down in the comments. Were you impressed with Terence's performance last night? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more straight talk if you hadn't done so already. And remember to put God first, stay engaged, and stay informed. Peace.